we are talking about the 2025 mock draft. It's Thursday in like 3 months, 3.5 months. The NFL draft will happen. And as of right now, I'm going to be very honest with you. Outside of like the top 10 players, have not fully acclimated myself with this draft class yet. However, this mock draft is more so an exercise in the positions that I think teams will target and what I think teams should do more so than what I think teams will do as of right now. Starting off with the Tennessee Titans, also, we're not going to have any trades today just because the draft order isn't set. We don't know what GMs are going to do. Like the team with the first overall pick doesn't have a GM right now. So we're going to leave out trades for this week's iteration. There's going to be a new mock draft every Thursday. So as we get closer to the draft, obviously there'll be trades and other things that are happening. But with the number one overall pick, I do think that the Titans are going to go with Cam Ward. I think he is slightly better than Shedeur Sanders. Both of them have positive traits and negative traits. And I think Cam Ward would be a good fit in Tennessee with the run game that they have, the offensive line that they're building, and they still got Calvin Ridley and a few other really good weapons. So I think it's a decent situation for a rookie quarterback to be in outside of whatever power struggle and whatever's happening behind the scenes, because that doesn't entirely make sense to me. But as the roster is currently constructed, that's a decent team for a rookie to go to. For the Browns, I think they go Shedeur Sanders. Travis Hunter, definitely a consideration here, or a tackle or another player. But I think that this legitimately is not a team that will have the number two overall pick often in the next coming years, given the talent that they have on defense and the talent that they have on offense. Nick Chubb is going to be healthy next year. Jerry Jeudy had a really good season. David Njoku will probably be healthy next season. Like they have a lot of good pieces on this team. And if they just get competent quarterback play, like we saw them go to the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco, if they get competent quarterback play, they'll be a good football team and they'll win 9, 10, 11 games, probably get a wild card slot. Um, if Shedeur Sanders can be an above average to a good to great quarterback, um, that team can contend for that division, which is extremely tough given that the Ravens and Bengals are there. But I think Shedeur Sanders can legitimately uplift the ceiling of that team. And I think Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach to help develop him. I think he's a really good offensive coach. Moving on to the Giants, I think they go Travis Hunter, best player available. They have a legitimate need at cornerback as well. They can use him out at wide receiver if Dave Wilson is fit next season. But I think obviously they need a quarterback. I think, going the line of a Justin Fields or Jameis Winston in free agency as a bridge quarterback and drafting best player available here is the best possible scenario. Now, obviously, they can draft a quarterback later. If Drew Aller declares for the draft, I think we might see three straight quarterbacks go. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. But in this mock draft, they get Travis Hunter, I think, best player available, Heisman Trophy winner, and a legitimate difference maker for the Giants, and a star who is extremely marketable, which in the New York media market, which is important to the Mara family. You got Malik Neighbors on offense, you got Travis Hunter on defense, and I think those are like Travis Hunter will definitely be a local leader that this team desperately, desperately, desperately needs. Moving on to the New England Patriots, Ted McMillan definitely a consideration, but I think they go with Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State. Um, phenomenal athlete, really good player, has had a really good season. Excited to see what he does tonight versus Notre Dame. But I think given that they traded Josh Uche, they traded Matt Judon, Abdul Carter makes a lot of sense for them. Moving on to the Jags, I think they go with Will Johnson from Michigan. Really good, solid cornerback, made a lot of plays last season, helped them win a natty. And the Jags definitely need a cornerback because the Shaq Griffin signing didn't work out. And they have Tyson Campbell and a couple other younger guys, but getting another young high draft pick into that mix is extremely important for them. The Raiders, I think they are the team that drafts Teterea McMillan. Um, they lost Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers is a good number two. Whoever the next coach will be, whether it's Bill Belichick or someone else, that offense is going to need all the talent that it can get, and he provides that in spades. The Jets, I think they go with Mason Graham, another best player available situation. He is a really good D lineman. Pairing him with Quinnen Williams is downright scary and will make that defense even better. For the Panthers, I think that their needs for some reason are DL and DB, which is important, but they also don't really have a receiving prowess yet. Xavier Legette is a good young player, but Adam Thielen was Bryce Young's favorite target, and Adam Thielen's like 40. So I think Luther Burden, given the development of Bryce Young this season, would be insanely, insanely, insanely good on that team. Moving on to the Saints, I think they go with Nick Skirden, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. Um, Cam Jordan is not getting any younger. They have repeatedly tried to draft edge rushers and not really turned any of them into great players. Guys like Peyton Turner. And I think Nick Skirden would provide the boost that they need for that position. For the Chicago Bears, this is slightly out of left field. I don't know if Bears fans will be happy with this or not. I have them taking Ashton Gianti. Simply best player available. There's not a lot of good interior offensive linemen. You've drafted two rookie tackles who have panned out while healthy. But Ashton Gianti will take so much pressure off of Caleb Williams. DeAndre Swift had like an up and down season, but DeAndre Swift isn't a star running back. Ashton Gianti is your star running back. Like phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal running back. And him and Caleb Williams alongside Roma Dunze and DJ Moore, that's a good offense. Now, if you get an offensive coach to put everything together, even better. Moving on to the Niners, this is Christmas for them. Will Campbell goes to the Niners, the best offensive lineman in this class, and they desperately, desperately need tackle help. Trent Williams is also damn near 40. Colton McKivitz is okay at right tackle, but like you can do better. And Will Campbell starts the rebuilding of that offensive line to help that offense succeed next season. The Dallas Cowboys, I have them once again consider someone like Calvin Banks, but I have them taking Emeka Egbuka. Obviously, they're going to keep tack. They're leaning towards keeping Mike McCarthy, and they legitimately after CeeDee Lamb, they don't really have a lot of good receivers. Brandon Cooks is okay, but he's also getting older. Kevontae Turpin is more like a gadget guy. Someone like Emeka Egbuka would be a nice chain mover for them and a reliable option for Dak. At 13 with the Miami Dolphins, I have them taking Kelvin Banks, another team that's desperately needed O-line help for a really long time. Teron Armstead is not getting any younger. He has repeatedly had injuries. And I think that is the biggest thing holding them back from succeeding as an offense, not Tua's limitations or anything else. It's the fact that the offensive line cannot consistently protect Tua. At 14 with the Colts, I have them taking Malachi Starks. Once again, I think this is a team that just needs some winners and some people. They just need some dogs. They legitimately just need some dogs on this football team to hold people accountable, to be leaders on this team, because I think this is another team like the Giants that's lacking that right now. And I think Malachi Starks, on top of that, is just a phenomenal football player as well. At 15, the Atlanta Falcons take Jalen Milroe. Nope, I'm joking. I don't think they take a quarterback in the first round 2 years in a row when they already have an expensive one on the roster. How like this is a tangent. This is not related to the draft whatsoever. But if they don't draft Penix at 8 last season, and they draft a defensive player or they draft an offensive lineman, whatever else have you, or a receiver, Kirk Cousins wins one of the last 2 games, and gets them into the playoffs. Like Kirk Cousins does not lose that game against the Commanders because Kirk Cousins was not going to be missing wide open players like that as Penix was, which is fine because he's a very young football player. But I think they jumped the gun on that. But in all seriousness, I've been taking Jalen Walker at linebacker. Um, they have some really good, like they have some intriguing players on defense, but they also, are relying on guys like Justin Simmons and Matt Judon, who they traded for or signed last minute. And I think Jalen Walker starts the rebuilding of that defense. At 16 with the Cardinals, I have them taking Ariante Erzuri. I know he plays for Minnesota and Josh Simmons plays for Ohio State, so the quality of program, quality of opponents is different. He had a much better season. He missed less games. And I think with Paris Johnson on one side, him on the other, you get Kyler the protection that he needs, and you let the offense reach its full potential next season. At 17 for the Bengals, once again, considered any offensive lineman. Now, obviously, they have some tackles. They don't really need more tackles. This is not a good interior lineman class. Um, Considered a defensive player as well, considering how bad they were. But I could not resist giving them Colston Loveland. Sorry, pop that up. But phenomenal athlete, phenomenal tight end. I don't. Joe Burrow has not had like an elite tight end in the NFL yet. And even if you can't keep T. Higgins in the offseason, um, Jamar Chase, Colston Loveland, Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, Jermaine Burden, Andre Yoshivas. That's a good cadre of weapons offensively for Joe Burrow. Given the fact that he is Joe Burrow, and will make them better as well. So, and I think Colston Loveland would be an elite fit on that offense. At 18 for the Seahawks, this is another out of left field pick. I have them taking Jalen Milrow. Now, I firmly believe that Jalen Milrow should have stayed another year in college to develop his skill set. However, Geno Smith is probably coming back for another year, and you let Jalen Milrow sit and develop behind Geno Smith. You let the new offensive coordinator, whoever that will be, coach him up, and then he's your quarterback a year later when Geno Smith's contract expires. I think he's someone that definitely needs to develop and sit for a little bit, but can be a really, really good quarterback in the NFL, is a great athlete. Um, and given that the Seahawks are loaded offensively, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, um, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, even Noah Fant is a pretty good tight end. I think that Jalen Milrow would be a really good fit for that offense. At 19 with the Houston Texans, I have them taking Kenneth Grant, the DL from Michigan. Once again, this is someone that I don't really know a lot about as a player. I have not watched him play, but the Houston Texans can definitely use some defensive line help. They've been using stopgap options on the interior. They have Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson on the outside, which is phenomenal. But I think someone like Kenneth Grant in the middle will certainly help that off defense get more pressure on the quarterback and be more consistent. At 20 with the Denver Broncos, I have them taking Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, another really good athlete, another just another great tight end. And you have Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims has been a good player. You have some other options on offense, but Tyler Warren gives you that consistent tight end option that is great for every young quarterback. And the Sean Payton offense has also used tight ends a lot. Jimmy Graham was a star in it, and a couple other tight ends too, even guys like Jared Cook. So I think Tyler Warren would be a great fit in Denver. At 21 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Benjamin Morrison, the corner from Notre Dame, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy Bunting, a lot of their like top level cornerbacks from the Super Bowl defense and those years are gone. And I think, they have some good players, but they also have been relying on seventh round picks, undrafted guys. I think they've warned to spend a high level pick on a cornerback. And I think Benjamin Morrison is going to be a great cornerback in the NFL. At 22 with the Steelers, I have them taking Trey Amos, the corner from Mississippi. Another team that needs that opposite corner to um, what's it called? Joey Porter Jr. They traded for Dante Jackson. He's been up and down this season, but I think you need a homegrown guy, and Trey Amos would be a good fit in that defense. At 23 with the Rams, I have them taking Josh Simmons. Like I said, he wasn't my favorite O line prospect. He's missed some games, but that team they invested heavily in guard last season, and now they get a second young tackle into the group to build that team even more. At 24 with the Packers, I have them taking Michael Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia. Packers, another sneaky team that drafts a lot of Georgia players. We always talk about the Eagles, but Quay Walker, Deontay Wyatt, both first round picks in the last couple of years. The Packers also draft heavily from Georgia, and I think opposite Rashawn Gary, this gives them the boost that they need at edge rusher. Given that Preston Smith is getting pretty old, he's still a good player, but he's getting old. 25 with the Chargers, I have them taking Amari Hampton. Once again, this team could probably use this pick in a more valuable fashion, but Jim Harbaugh Greg Roman, they love running the football. J.K. Dobbins is a great running back, but I think him playing off Maureen Hampton, using both of them together, will give that offense even more firepower. Because I legitimately, Quentin Johnson has a pretty good season. Lad McConkey is phenomenal. And even some of the other no-name receivers, Josh Palmer, some of those guys have stepped up this season. I think that wide receiver might not be the biggest need. Also, given the fact that T. Higgins is going to be a free agent most likely, um, the Chargers could spend heavily on T. Higgins and get him back, which would be great. At 26 for the Commies, I've been taking Wyatt Millen from West Virginia, another tackle. This is another team that desperately needs tackle help to protect their young quarterback. Jaden Daniels is going to win Rookie of the Year, but like he's taken a lot of hits. He's been under a lot of pressure, and you got to protect your franchise guy. At 27 with the Ravens, I've been taking Shamar Stewart. Um, Once again, this team defensively is very good, but they can use some extra edge rushing help. Justin Madubuike is great. Kyle Van Noy is not getting any younger. You keep signing him to 1-year deals. Let's get a permanent solution at that position. At 28 with the Vikings, I have them taking Tyleik Williams, DL from Ohio State. I don't know if Flores is going to stay or not, but you have pretty good edge rushers. You have really great linebacker play, in my opinion. You've signed some great free agents, Van Ginkel, Cashman. Uh, Safety room, cornerbacks, they've played really well as well. You've been using three safeties. Harrison Smith, I don't know how much longer he's going to play, but you could use interior D line help, and Tyleik Williams provides that. At 29 with the Buffalo Bills, I have them taking Siobhan Rebel. This is another team that is undergoing like mini retoolings on their roster every single season to stay competitive around their franchise guy who they paid already. But I think they need some more corner help, and I think he provides that. At 30 with the Eagles, I'm taking James Pierce Jr., another edge rusher. The Bryce Huff trade or signing has not really worked out. Nolan Smith, he'll get more playing time, but he hasn't really played right now. Like the most reliable edge rusher you have is Josh Sweat. James Pierce has had two really great seasons at Tennessee, and I think he would be a really good fit on that defense. At 31 with the Chiefs, I have been taking Jade Byrne from Texas. We saw when they had some injuries at corner this season, and the defense productivity and play went down heavily. I think this fixes that problem a little bit. I think he'll be a really good fit. I don't think Spags is going to leave that DC job to take a head coaching job elsewhere. I think he would be a really good fit in that defense. And with the last pick, the Detroit Lions, I have them taking Jack Sawyer. I know he's not, the highest ranked guy here, maybe not a first round guy, but the Lions have always gone off the board in their drafts with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And I think he's the guy that embodies what Dan Campbell is about and what that team is about. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the No Fun League. Like I said, there'll be a mock draft every Thursday until the draft. Peace.